La Super Comadre from RadioCrystalUSA.com, and I just want to tell you a little bit about who I am and what I do. So, La Super Comadre, my platform is all about bringing people on, special guests, who either do something for the community, who have done something for the community, who match up the pillars of what my show is about, which is about taking care of your heart and soul, which is about political engagement, which is about education. So every person that comes on can be a super comadre or a super compadre, someone that's out there doing something for the community. So I invite you all to listen and to watch every Tuesday when we record the show. But it also repeats on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at 10 o'clock in the morning and at 10 o'clock at night on RadioCrystalUSA.com. And don't forget to give us a like. Adios. Hola, hola, ¿cómo están todos? Es la Super Comadre Claudia de RadioCrystalUSA.com. How are you doing? It's been a while, but I'm back. And I'm super excited to be here because, as you know, La Super Comadre Claudia show is all about elevating stories, journeys, people that are doing amazing things in the community, for the community, and they're from the community sometimes, most of the time. And sometimes they live here in Houston, sometimes they're zoomed in from other cities. But this is what it's about. La Super Comadre is about sharing those amazing stories and people. And this is something that I love to do, is to share and elevate. So before I get started with my news, well, it's not a new Super Comadre. It's a Super Comadre that I've had in the past. And she's coming back to kick off some new segments that I'm calling What's Your Story? So she is going to reconnect with me, and I'm going to reconnect with her. And she's going to continue letting us know her story, where she's at, what she's doing now. And before we get to my Super Comadre guest, who's returning to share her story, I want to bring on my Super Comadre Liliana, who is always behind los controles, making sure that the online radio show is happening. And ¿dónde estás, Comadre Liliana? ¿Cómo estás? ¿Dónde estás?
¡Eh! ¿Estás? Fui por la maceta, me lo puse aquí. ¿Cómo ves?
A ver, déjame ir a buscar el agua para echarte agüita.
Sí, por favor. Hay que regarlas. Pero no regarla, no regarla.
No la regues, pero régala. Bueno, ¿cómo es?
Oh, it's so much. I'm so happy to see you, comadre. I'm so happy to see you again. And as always, it's a pleasure to work with you. I'm so glad you're part of Radio Crystal USA since 2016, and it's been a great well, it's an honor to work with you.
Oh, thank you. It's been an amazing journey. You know, our paths crossed a long time ago, and you said, let's do this. And I'm like, what? And here we are. So many years later, compartiendo, elevando las personas que han pasado por aquí con sus historias, sus vidas, todo lo que han hecho. Y así es que quiero saber un poquito de ti. Ahora, Mrs. Liliana, ¿cómo está?
Elizondo de Amparo. Liliana
¿Cómo
Elizondo
está
de Amparo.
la señora Liliana Elizondo de Amparo?
Ya casadita, muy casadita.
¿Ya cuántos
Casadita
meses?
Con Z también.
¿Cansadita o
Casada y casada.
Oh, ok, yo entendí cansada. I'm like, already?
Casada.
Casada y casada con Z. Oh my gosh, I bet it's been amazing. You are always radiating, you know, more than usual because you were always, you know, shiny. But how's it been? Just give a little update.
It's been amazing. I thought it was good. It's nothing what I thought it was gonna be. It's something new. It's something very so loving and so wanting to be there.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing. And I love how you know, sometimes, you know, paths cross for a reason. And I remember you shared when you met him online, and I'm like, what? And it was right before the pandemic.
I didn't believe in that, and I was like, what?
No. And I was like, And then I'm like,
that's a Hey Comadre show. That's for a Hey Comadre show.
Totally. Online dating. Does it work or does it not? Should you give it yeah, you know, give it a, you know, and you know, sometimes you gotta give things a shot because you just don't know. Mejor quedarte, no quieres quedarte con las ganas, o sea que
Que no te digan, que no te cuenten porque te mienten.
There we go. Bueno.
Comadre, I'm so excited that you're gonna have a special guest today, and I want to
Yes.
know more about the event.
Yes.
I want to know more about her life and
Yes.
about how you met and everything. Please tell me who your guest is today.
So she is a returning super
Let me behind the scenes,
comadre.
okay?
Okay, you go behind the scenes, and I'm gonna let everybody know she's a returning super comadre who's been in la comunidad aquí in Houston, doing so many amazing things within the art world, around the art world, connecting the art world to other worlds that don't always have that appreciation, or maybe just don't know much about it, right? And so I want to bring back my super comadre, Lisbeth Ortiz. Bienvenida otra vez de nuevo. ¡Woo! Oh
Thank
my
you.
gosh. I want to check out your background here. Talk to me about your background because it's connected to your story. And I want to know where we left off because we met and we connected and we did a show with Valdemar and Amanda about El Quince de Ruby. Remember that?
Yes. Yes. Yeah, it's been well, that's pre-pandemic. I feel like the pandemic has been such a bookmark, in all our lives.
Mm-hmm.
But we met some years ago, and it was so much fun. I mean, love your energy. Thank you so much for having me on. And it's nice to reconnect again and have an opportunity to kind of touch base and share all the crazy adventures that have been life.
Yes, life, exactly. And then after that, you invited me, which was so cool. I had the honor of rounding up. You got me and a couple of other comadres and super compadres to do a children's section at the Frida Festival. Was it when you had it on Avenida Americas? Remember that?
Yes, that was 2019. That's when I know we had LAN in town, so it was the Primavera of Latino Art. It was amazing. All the energy, lots of different things going on, and yeah, we were able to do it thanks to a lot of people. A lot of people helped make it happen that we could have it at Discovery Green, and it was amazing. The energy, you remember that
Yeah.
Saturday? Beautiful day. We had tons of people. I want to say we had probably, I mean, close to 8,000 people come through because it was just so, the Astros were playing in mid-May.
Mm-hmm.
Had so much going on.
Yes.
But yeah, it was awesome having you there with Valdemar and your bus and the girls and Alex. I mean, it was amazing. Such an awesome experience.
Yes, and and those, like you said, those experiences that we have a chance to, be a part of in creating and connecting and showing the world, look, our world, our immediate world, and especially children, for you to say, hey, we got to do something for the kids. I'm like, no problem, let's do this. I'm an educator. That's my background. I love doing the show too. That's one of my loves too. But like you said, the incredible amount of people that you bring together to put this on, it's like a day or 2 days, right? And it goes boom like that. But then you think of all the planning that goes ahead of time. And I want to say thank you. Thank you for stepping into those arenas of gathering people, putting out your crazy ideas to some people. Like me, that's not crazy. I'm like, we need to do what? No problem. 2 weeks, we got this. But but there's so much. So I want, to kind of go back to where we're at today. What happened last week that's leading up to an event that's coming up this weekend. So take us through that little timeline.
So, well, it actually, this year we started April 1st with a kickoff to announce all the different activities that we were going to have this year for Frida Festival. Now, it's the 18th year. We've been doing this for 18 years. This festival is old enough to vote.
Finally, it had a quinceañera, and it's old enough to vote.
Well, we wanted the quinceañera, but that was 2020 when COVID happened. Yeah. So we didn't, we're still missing that quinceañera, but maybe for the 20th. The 20th is going to be a huge pachanga. I'm already warning everybody.
Agárrense todos.
We are going to make Houston the destination for Frida fans. Every Primavera, come to Houston to do all these amazing Frida activities, you know, for kids, the whole family, get restaurants involved to have like a dinner. I
Yeah.
mean, the works, the works. But anyways, before I get, you know, far ahead of myself, I'll go back to April 1st when we had a kickoff and we announced all our activities. And that day was amazing for so many you know, reasons. But I want to say and share that the highlight of April 1st was being able to invite a high school student that I met in March, who I judge high school and middle school art sometimes. And I love it. I love meeting these children and hearing what they, you know, their inspiration and how their process of creating. And this young lady, she is a sophomore, came in and had this 16 by 20 art piece that had two hands cupped together, going to another pair of hands receiving this anatomically correct heart that she crocheted in the veins
Wow.
hands. And so I asked her, I mean, the imagery blew me away because it was just
Yeah.
insanely gorgeous. The background was black ink. And, it was very reminiscent to Las Dos Fridas with the painting behind the
Mm-hmm.
background.
Mm-hmm.
And so you know, I let her explain her inspiration, and she's telling me that Christmas Day, she was happy opening up her gifts, and she saw her siblings opening up their gifts, and then she saw her dad's face, and he was so overjoyed just watching his children open up their gifts. He didn't need to open up anything to be just completely happy. And he came from a very, very humble family in Mexico where he didn't really have Christmas gifts every year. And so she realized and appreciated the sacrifice that he had made to leave his family in Mexico to come to the United States to give his children a better life. And so she just wanted him to know that she wanted to give him her heart in gratitude.
Oh my God, that's a beautiful story.
It was, yes. I mean, of course, she's crying, I'm crying, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
it's so. Yeah, I mean, that's what art is, right?
Yeah.
It's the power of healing and the power of express yourself. And she tells me that her dad, you know, he didn't really grow up with like lots of I love you W's and, you know, hugs and whatnot. So he doesn't show his affection that way. He shows it by caring for his family. But she just wanted him to know that she appreciated him. So I I tell her I would love for you to enter this piece into this art show. I, you know, didn't really give her my contact information because it's still students, but I'm like, please look for it. This is the website. Then I get an email like 3 weeks later, and it's her teacher saying, "Hey, you met my student, and I've been encouraging her to apply to local art shows, and I got her to apply, and I'm gonna submit a piece, and so are other students." Oh my goodness, that was like Christmas for me to like, because I thought I was never going to hear from her again, or you know. So I told the teacher, Constance, who's an amazing educator. I told her, can you invite her to come present her piece and bring her parents to the kickoff party April 1st at Blanca's Cafe? And they did. They showed up, and she shared with everybody her story, inspiration, and her parents were there. And you know, for them, I mean, I'm sure they see her grow and blossom and whatnot, but I wanted them to know that the community appreciates their sacrifices and what they're doing for their children, and you know, that they're starting to get the fruits, reap the fruits of their sacrifice. And it was just beautiful. So that's really what this festival is about, is giving a voice to not just you know, women, but artists. We're all artists inside, and we need to lean a little bit more on our creativity to express ourselves, because we just have all this bottled up hurt and feelings that we don't let out, and it's really therapeutic to do so. I mean, I think we would be a happier society if we were just a little bit more creative.
Absolutely. I am with you. I am on the educator in the camp of monies, funding, budgets need to constantly have that space. And if it's not, being had, for people to push for it and ask, and not even ask, but demand for it. Because, that's what we need. You're right. Creativity, the ability to create, the ability to express yourself. That's not, it helps with everything, with reading, with writing, with problem solving, with mechanical engineering, with medicine, with, every little, everything that makes up what we do daily needs to have some type of art connection, because art is the all I always said throughout the whole pandemic, only art can save us at this point. Because people were coming up with music and poetry and coming up with amazing reels and videos and documentaries, and bands started up online, and people started making music and sharing it that way in art and videos. And I'm thinking, wow, when the world paused on its daily rush of going through the day and not even stopping to breathe, I want to say the one of the silver linings was that we stopped and we were forced to not be able to go anywhere, and we really went inside. And a lot of us, had to deal with a lot of mental, anguish, and we needed supports, and we needed help, and we needed each other. And the ability to be creative, for many, that was something that kept us going. I know I got pretty creative. But yeah, and you touched on something that's super important, is giving the voice to, and allowing the space, creating the space to have people come and present something that they didn't think was something that needs to be, that should be presented. Because a lot of the folks that you put in front of others are folks that never probably had that chance, or maybe they were overlooked, or maybe they weren't looked at someone as someone that could give something or show something. And but thank you for doing that every single year. It's like bigger, it's better, it's where now. So it's this weekend, right? This weekend, it's talk a little bit about this weekend, where it's at, what's the time, how much does it cost, and how can, and what can people look forward to experiencing this year's Frida Fest?
Well, so it is Saturday, April 29th at Mecca Dow's, 1900 King Street. And it's free. It's always been free. It's always been family friendly. That's something that we have always felt very strongly about, that it's for the community. It's by the community, for our community. And it will always be free to go and enjoy. We did have two other events after the kickoff party.
Yes, talk about that.
The art opening was April 8th at Mecca East End, which is formerly known as TBH, so it's the old TBH building. And we had over 60 pieces this year, and one of them was Jennifer. She entered her piece, and we sold it. We sold it at the kickoff. But there was another young artist, Isabela Perea, who was 6 years old. And she sold one of her pieces that's going to a collector in Florida.
Wow.
And, it's those kind of things that are just like, okay, she came in with her uncle, who's also an artist. And he's like, he wants to know if she can get a solo show. And I'm like, yeah, she can get a solo show. I just need her to make the work, and, we'll give her a solo show.
Oh my gosh. Wow, that's amazing.
It is. It's such it's so nice to see young artists really kind of, like you said, having that safe space, and that they can show their work. And when I judge these competitions, I always tell them, you already won. The minute that you accomplish to make something and you feel good about it, that's winning. And you being able to show it and have it in a professional setting along other artists that have been doing it for a long time, was so rewarding on so many levels. And I'm just, grateful that I have that space to be able to do that and give people that opportunity. So that was the art show, and that is on view until Thursday. Okay. The I think from 1 to 9, you can still go see it. And then I'm going to move some of the pieces to Mecca Dow, which is going to be where this Saturday, and you can go see that. But in between, we had, and you participated last year
Last year, yes.
at our Frida and Primavera fashion show. This year we had a gala dinner, and it was amazing. And again, this was all done. It takes a village.
Mhm.
Had a complete board with two beautiful and super super generous host chairs, Isa Garcia and Blanca Beltran Robinson, who did
Mhm.
a job of hosting it, and Valdemar Rodriguez, shout out to Valde, who
Yes.
really really brought everything together, identified the board members, and just in very little time, because we didn't start until January to really put this together. So it's been a whirlwind, but
Yeah.
it's amazing, and we're all really excited for next year and the 20th. I mean, yeah.
Yes. I want to apologize. I was asked to help, and I'm like, you know what? Right now, I will help by promoting, supporting, because at the moment, I'm helping, Alex getting through this battle, and he's getting better, and so Itza Garcia you're in good hands with my super comadre Ilsa, with Blanca Beltran Robinson, with Valdemar. I mean, I always tell them, one day when we're like super like viejitas, golden age girls, like way in the future, we're gonna look back, drinking our cafe or tequila, whatever, and say, "Man, remember that time we were doing all these things?" And then by then it's gonna be already bigger, and the kids that are looking up at us, like that 6-year-old who did the artwork, like that other young lady who did her artwork, like my kids, Marianne's kids, Blanca's kids, like we're continuing to create and expand on those paths that are for community activist members did for us, and we're taking it and expanding it. And imagine like 10, 15, 20, 30 years from now, we're sitting there with our rebosos drinking the tequila or the cafe or whatever, and just saying, remember all that stuff we did? Remember this? Remember that? And it's going to be, this is history. This is history. This is something that I am down to continue supporting you, Lisbeth, and everything that's being done to uplift our practices, our cultura, our who we are, because we've always been here. We've always been here, Next, and I want to add something to you, because add something, for you. And what are your thoughts, when we see things like the movie Coco, like we've seen Book of Life, we've seen, I've seen how the big place with the Mickey with the mouse ears, how they've taken, our traditions, practices, our cultura, and they put it on a bigger screen. And yes, they brought in some consultants, like, when they did the Coco movie. How are you ready when they come and tap your shoulder? What will you say? What would you do if they're like, okay, we got to do a Frida-esque,
Well,
type of work and take it to a bigger level? How do we make sure that the community is still part of it? How do we make sure that we continue keeping intact what our bigger picture is, which is to preserve and to share who we are?
no, I think that's an excellent question. At the core, and that's really kind of been the message that we've been putting out there, as we get bigger,
Mm-hmm.
that community, community. You need to ask yourself, whenever you're going to participate or go to an event,
Mm-hmm.
who is putting this on, and who is it supporting?
Mm-hmm.
Um, there are so many, like the Disney movie. Did they give back to the community? Yes, they got consultants. The people that they went and met in Mexico, did they give back to them? As a educated consumer, can you feel good about your patronage
Mm-hmm.
to these projects, right? And it happens. I mean, it happens on a big scale, like with the rabbit ears, and it happens in our
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the mouse here happens in our communities all the time. There are places that have been doing these culture events for years, and then sometimes outside uh, companies are, and they just say, "Oh, we have more connections. We can make this bigger." Um, and yes, they come and take our money, and then they leave town.
Mm-hmm.
What
Mm-hmm.
is in the community?
Yeah.
Um, Always look to see who are the people that are really doing the work
Yeah.
on the and are giving back to the community, and that's where you want to support, right?
Yeah.
You want to be able to say that you gave back, not, you know, what you want to see, that really are going back to a great cause. Because at the end of the day, our community, we're all like part of the ecosystem. The roots are
Mm-hmm.
all fine. And if we're not feeding in to that community, it's going to start to, it's going to affect us, you know?
Yeah, definitely. Can you repeat that again? Because I lost you a little bit. If we,
If we don't feed into the our community, our roots are all intertwined, and we water our own tree of
that's
community,
right.
it's going to.
It's going to die. Yes. If and that's our responsibility is to continuously question and say, okay, why is that? What are you doing with that? Okay, where is that going? Yes, I'll connect you, but but holding on to what we is it that what we want to make sure that continues to grow. That we're watering ourselves, that we're teaching those around us to water themselves. And if somebody wants to join the watering, like, okay, like how, what does this mean, and how do we make sure?
How are you helping? Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, and it happens to all of us, right? We
Yeah.
get blindsided by the glitz and the like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
this is better, there must be better.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, where are these fireworks coming from? Is it going to burn my tree down?
True.
Like,
True.
ask those.
Yes, definitely. So this Saturday. Now, I love how you said it's totally free. People, moms, dads, working hard. We're coming. A lot of people are still struggling and recovering from the pandemic. So to be able to have these family-friendly events is so key because, like, kids don't need a lot of fanfare hoopla. Just, and sometimes families, moms, dads, they feel like they need to spend a lot, do a lot, make a big deal. And you don't. You don't. The simple act of just like that little 6-year-old paint on a canvas doesn't cost much. Going to a festival and seeing and appreciating and being with other people, other kids, seeing the works of art, asking the kids to look at it and question, like, how did you do that? How did that come? Who's Frida?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, that, eso no cuesta dinero. Maybe the gas to get somewhere, but everyone has a phone. And I'm thinking, if you can afford the phone bill, you can afford a quick little trip to downtown and just enjoy the sights and sounds and have your young, kids, teens off the phone for a bit and see the world outside of the screen.
Yes, and it's time, right? Time is the most valuable thing we give our children, our community, really. Just a little bit of your time, some time with them. Um, they will appreciate more than anything that you imagine. But yeah, we will have, the festival is completely, there will be performances by Portugal, young mariachi singers, Karina Nestal and the Cosmic Cats are going to perform at 6. Um,
Awesome.
yeah, so yeah, we'll have free performances. And at 5:45, we'll do the call for the Frida lookalike to come to the stage so we can announce a winner around 6. So it's really exciting. We're super excited. Love doing this for the community. I don't, I don't see what else you know, would prevent us from doing this other than, just being not being here anymore. But really, what we want to do, the legacy we want to leave behind, is to have this continue growing so we can give scholarships to art students. I mean,
Yes.
beautiful would that be that you could say, oh, I have a Little Frida Festival scholarship, hopefully.
Oh my gosh, that is awesome. And we have some comments here, and I want to bring up the comments. Go ahead, Elena, bring them up. Ilsa Garcia, one of your co chairs that helped produce this, Go back to Isa Garcia. She did a little comment here. Comadre, you took me to the Frida Fest at Mecca years ago, and that day you introduced me to Marianne Garcia, now my sisters. Yes.
Oh, that's beautiful. Oh,
That comadre, what is it? Girlmance instead of bromance. It started at your festival at over there at Mecca off of Kane. And she said, "Congratulations, Lisbeth Ortiz." So Marianne Garcia and Ilsa and I are together because of you.
oh, well, and I love all the congratulations, and from my heart, thank you. But it's really congratulations to the community, to
Mhm.
us, that from you guys attending, this beautiful friendship, blossomed, and that we can still continue doing this every year. And how many more friendships like the Super Comadre friendship have not, blossomed too. So
Exactly, exactly. And then I have my two own comadritas
yes,
who I just want to share with you. You were giving me a congratulations, but I want to say, like you said, it takes a village. It took a village to get the girls where they're at. And, it's their dad and I, my parents, countless family members, their teachers, all the schools they were at, like it's a village that, that keeps that helps to get things moving and going. No man or woman is an island. There's none of this pull yourself by your bootstraps, because the way I see it, a boot is made. My grandfather used to make boots, right? And Jose Pepe Gonzalez, he had a boot shop and everything off of Elgin. Tejas Boots. No longer there, but I want to plug it in. But the boot, it's made. So when someone says pull yourself by your bootstraps, you have to remember how those bootstraps were affixed onto that boot. Who made the boot? How many people did it take to make the boot? Where did the leather come from to make the boot? So not only is it just the people, is an animal that was used to make it. That's a whole village, whole ecosystem. So I want to just pull up right here. These are my two comadritas. This is Citlali and Pilar. We're actually sitting on one of the spirit guides, right, Lisbeth?
yeah, that's Gonzo.
Gonzo.
Alebrijes.
Alebrijes, yes. And just this pause here, the impact that everyone is making in their own right, their own way. This is a museum, the Museum of Fine Arts. You had say it again.
Alebrije.
You had an alebrije there. Gonzo had an alebrije there. I mean, how many years did it take for this to happen? Who knows, right? Many. We've always been here. But to
Yeah.
be able to be moving into these circles and participating, sitting at those tables, whether it's the Alley Theater who supported and connected and uplifted your Frida Fest and the Primavera show, to, Gonzo being there, you being there. I mean, this has been in the making and should have been happening years ago. But you know what? It's happening. But it takes people like you, like Gonzo, like Liliana, like Irsa, like Marianne, everyone to continue speaking, going into those rooms, elbowing yourself in sometimes. There's and if you know how they say come to the table and blah blah blah, and there's, okay, you get to the table, there's no chair, okay, bring your own chair. If there's no table, there's no chair, well, bring your own table and chair, sit outside the room, f that, let's create our own stuff.
Yeah.
However, it's happened, it's happening. And then I see like Yuri, the fitness Zumba queen, doing Zumba at the Museum of Fine Arts. I mean, it's amazing to see how we are being woven into places that we've always walked on.
Yes. And I'll share with you a story that I shared with everybody that day that we had uh the Alebrijes, Dream of Alebrijes at the Museum of Fine Arts. It was a beautiful, beautiful day and celebration of our cultura in a space that, like you said, we were not present. Going to HSPBA, we would take field trips there a lot, and I love the sculpture garden, the Cullen Sculpture Garden, and I never really saw myself there because there was no representation. All the
Mm.
artists are not Latino, and it was beyond my wildest dreams to think that I would have things that I created in that space. So being invited and having that and being able to share it with like my nieces and nephews and the community was, just a wonderful gift from the universe that I am so thankful that it happened, and that, hopefully it is have many more, because we are here, we have been here, and there's no reason why we're not participating at all these different levels. We have just as much a right and a voice in the next, person and culture, and I think we need to be celebrated and celebrate each other, and that's what makes Houston also so beautiful, that we're so diverse.
Yeah. So diverse, and there's space for all of us. And I have a challenge for you, Lisbeth, and I don't know how this is going to happen, but my oldest, let's talk about HSPVA because it's all going to connect.
Yeah.
HSPVA, for those that are listening and watching, it stands for the, okay, high school for the performing and visual arts. Okay, and now we put kinder in front of it because there's a big organization and lots of money that put money into the school. Thank you. But it's still HSPVA for many of us.
Yeah.
But that museum, my girls started going to take classes there since they were little. One of them continued, the other one went another route, and we'll talk about that later. But when I go and pick up my girls from the classes, there's not a lot of kids at LaSalle that look like school, art school, that look like my girls. So here's the charge, here's the challenge, here's the problem solving. I don't know how we're going to do this. How can we get more kids that may not have the financial backing to partake in these classes that are there? And then I'm like, ooh, Frida scholarship. I don't know.
That's what we do. We need to knock on the doors of these organizations that, HEB has been a great funder for Museum of Fine Arts. Let's knock on all the doors that we can think of and say, hey, wouldn't it be great if so and so, kid from, the school had a, let's just put them out there, HEB scholarship.
Yeah, HEB scholarships. Mm-hmm.
Semester at LaSalle. I mean, that I think would be amazing.
And here's another thing. How do we get on their boards? That's another thing. Like, how do we get onto those boards that are over or connected? That's the next door we got to go, like, stop knocking or knock through.
Yeah. And, that's let's invoke our super compadre, Tony Diaz, and say, hey, Tony, help us out here. How can we make this? He's, and he's all for, I think we just need to have a nice, powwow, at least sit to brainstorm.
Yeah. And Lisbeth, real quick, I lost you a little bit. I don't know if maybe your microphone might be a little too far, or maybe you could hook in or push in, make sure the auxiliary cord, I think that's what you call it. Just to make sure we don't lose you, because it got a little disconnected right now. But while you're connecting and reconnecting, yes, but back calling out, not calling out in a bad way, but calling on our super comadres and super compadres that are out there, that are in there, that are doing the work, that are already in those spaces, elevating themselves and beginning to elevate others around them, because I want to see more. Because there's another thing. Not only do we need to see more kids of color at LaSalle School of Art, we also need to see more kids that look like you, who is an alumni of HSPVA, which is the school where my girls are going to next year. They just got accepted to the high school for the performing and visual arts. One of them is going for vocal, one of them is going for visual arts. That in itself is how do we continue to make sure that those pipelines are created for the kids that are coming, that have these gifts, and they need a chance to sign up and apply for a school like HSPVA, where you went and where my girls are going. Because I can tell you, Elizabeth, I don't know what the process was like. It was probably your process to get in was probably similar to my brother, because my brother did graduate from there in 95. But this time, I mean, it's intense. Everything's online. Everything is, you need to make sure you have Wi-Fi. You need to make sure you have a computer. You need to make sure you have access to knowing how to use PDF files, downloading stuff. getting report cards, getting immunization records, scanning that stuff, uploading it. How many, in it, and me with the language, with the time, with the finances, with the Wi-Fi, with like 5 computers in my house and phone and scanning and printer and copy and everything. It was hard. It was like, oh my God, it was like a lot of work to get these girls just to get an audition. And then to get an audition, you need to have all that work done beforehand. Did they go to Glisel? Did they have a chance to have art school? Did they have a chance to go vocal schools? Did they have a chance to go to dance school? That takes time and money too. How do we make sure that kids that don't come that have a different upbringing than my girls, but they have the talent, have the chance to have access to that, so that when it's time to do that school choice and upload all those documents and have the time, let the parents have access to it and not get eliminated because it's like, oh my gosh, we got to do all this work and then we lose them and then the kid doesn't have a chance to partake in that. So that's just, I'm just putting out in the universe that there's got to be another way to support and have more kids that look like you and my brother and my daughters into having access into that school. So,
Yeah, I mean, it's hopefully this is better. I put
oh
it
yes,
from
yes,
okay.
yes, yes.
It's definitely a lot of work, and the process has changed. I remember when I applied, I did it on my own, and I just told my parents I need a ride. I need a ride to
And that was
this
it.
area, and that was it. Yeah, I've always been really independent. I kind of pulled that on them when I went to college too. I was like,
By the
"Oh yeah,
way,
I'm gonna go. I'm going to New York. I just need a ride to the airport." They're like, "What?" But those were different times.
yeah.
But I mean, that's why it's so important to have community centers like Mecca. That's where families of very um, moderate means can
Modest means.
modest means can go and take those art classes. There's counselors there that can help them with the applications, not just to high school but college too, and for scholarships, because it is overwhelming, and not everybody has the resources or the time, and this is why a lot of good people get left behind,
Yeah.
unfortunately. But yes, we need more community center organizations like Mecca, and the ones that are standing. We need to support and make
Mm-hmm.
sure that they have what they need so they can support our community.
Mm-hmm. Definitely, definitely. And I'm gonna turn it back and connect to voting because La Super Comadre is always talking about like getting
Yes.
involved in voting. People always say, I don't know, ya va a empezar la comadre con las elecciones. Yes, I will always empezar con las elecciones because if you do not get involved, decisions are made and then there's, you lose access or you're not being put in consideration for whatever developments happening around you in your community. So, like right now, I'm seeing how this whole Texas Education Agency takeover of Houston ISD, which is probably the fourth or fifth largest district in the United States, and to me it's disheartening. There's only so much I can do right now. I'm just like, let me work with Brain Builders, which is an organization that I am assistant director of, and develop supporting moms to become advocates for themselves and their kids. So I'm like, at least I want to do that, so I can like, hey guys, this is why you need to speak up. Let me show you. This is why we need to develop our kids' language. This is why we need to develop resilience. We need to develop self-empowerment, because that way when things like this are coming down the pipeline, you know that you belong there and what you say matters, and that you have suggestions, and that you want to make sure that whatever changes are happening for the good, but also ask why they're happening. And it all comes back down to voting. It all comes back down to being involved. I always say, if you are of age, if you have the ability to vote, please get involved. But before you get swayed by whatever one, two, or three things that have nothing really to do with putting food on your table, having a great education, if someone wants to dress up in a wig and drag or whatever and read a story, is that hurting my food being on the table? No. Is it hurting my kid? No. Is it hurting my chance of getting health care? No. Is it hurting my chance of getting great water in my cup when I open up the faucet? No. So think about the things that we want and need and then pick the people to lead and make decisions based on health, education, making sure that we don't live in areas that have cancer clusters. Why do they have cancer clusters? Make sure that we have kids going to schools that have access to the arts, to proper nutrition when they're eating food there. That we have people that are making decisions to make sure our kids are safe, that we don't have kids that are, or adults that are losing, that have been lost in the system, maybe because of mental, supports that weren't there. Then they end up having access to weapons that they don't know how to handle them or themselves, and then they go do something that could have all been prevented. So I don't care if you're what you are, man, woman, he, they, she. You want to wear heels? I don't care. But what are you doing to make sure that my kids are safe, that we have opportunity, that and let me tell you this, Lisbeth, Alex has been in the hospital for and everyone that's listening has been in the hospital going on 3 weeks. Ask me how many Latinos have been in my presence taking care of him. Ask me. No, really, for real, ask me.
So the staff isn't really Latino?
From all the doctors, nurses, everyone that has come through the room, been part of the process in the last 10, 11, 12, 13, almost, I don't know how many days now. How many? No, for real, ask me.
How many? 2.
And one of them was a person that was cleaning, which is nothing wrong with that. That you got to start somewhere, right?
Right.
And the second person was a young man who was just in charge of pushing the buggies, like the people that came out of the hospital rooms and taking them, just transportation, and that's it. 2 people. You're telling me that in Houston, Texas, where you have the medical center that the whole world knows about, where we now have a lot of economic development happening, like right now it's in the making, where they're making new parks and medical plazas and what have you, that you can't find a nurse or a doctor that looks like me or my kids? Really, 2 people. That needs to be looked at. We need to figure out what is happening and what is not happening, and what can we do. And that's where, even with myself, with Brain Builders, with the moms, we focus on getting moms into my sessions that are sometimes overlooked, that may not have access to mental health, mental support, or mom groups. Like, there's a lot of mom groups, but you got to pay to be in part of them. Right. There's a lot of activities you can do with your babies and toddlers, but it costs like a monthly charge. We've taken those same practices of developing resilience through fun and games and talking and taking care of yourself and your baby, and we're doing it through Brain Builders, and it's totally free, and we got funders to fund it, and but it's the same idea of how do we make sure that our moms that may not always have that access to all that, cosas que cuestan mucho, pero how do they have that same, content and that same, I guess, activities that are going to help that little one continue to grow and develop and be able to have access to things. But then continue. When those moms see that their kids are going to the school, like my girls, when they go to their middle school, and they're like, Mommy, why is my school all broken? Why the window's broken? It's been broken for I don't know how long. And then we pass by another middle school that's in the Westview area. They're like, wow, this school is really pretty. Why, Mom? Why? They're just noticing. And I'm like, good question. Why? That's what I want my moms and Brain Builders to do. That's what I want our kids to do, is ask, well, why do we have this broken window? And it's been broken for like 3 weeks. When I pass by this other school, it's so pretty in this part of the town. That right there is, we got to make sure that we continue to have them say why, and this is why we need and want this to change.
Yeah, and I'm with you on that. And when I go all around towns judging base, we really see the difference between, schools in certain neighborhoods. There was one that I think it was like last month that didn't even have, and I don't remember the name of the school, but didn't even have any windows. They were just missing the barbed wire on the chain link fence for it to be a full-on prison. I mean, it was a shame. And then, there are other schools with like flat screen TVs instead of chalkboards. I'm like, wow. I mean, yeah,
Yeah,
there are lots of things.
which is the importance of what you're doing. The
Hmm.
festivals, getting kids out there, getting their work put out there, giving them that platform, the parents, so they can feel empowered. That's where it starts.
Yeah.
All right. So, oh my gosh, it's we're I think we're I don't want to move too much because I don't want to lose my earbud out of my ear. 7:52. So, in closing, just continue. I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time today because I know you're super busy and getting ready for this weekend and also for Thursday. So, I want you to close it off. Just a few more words, a little bit about the upcoming Thursday. Right. You can still see the shows at Meta,
Thursday.
the art show.
Yes. Until Thursday, you can still go to Mecca East End, which is the old TBH, 333 South Jensen Drive. The show will be up there until 9 o'clock. And if you miss it, it's okay. Some of the pieces will be this Saturday at Dow, 1900 King Street. And the festival is from 11 to 7. We're having Ronnie with her art bus come out from 2 to 7. Yes, so, activities for the kids. There will be ballet folklorico, mariachi singers. Karina and Estelle and the Cosmic Cats are going to close off the festival. And the Frida Lookalike contest from 5:45 on to 6. And lots of yummy food. Cuchara is going to be one of our food vendors. So yes, I just met with her today, and she was like, "What brainstorming what to make?" But it's going to be amazing. Aguas Frescas is one of our sponsors, so it'll be free Aguas Frescas, and we're really excited. And again, it is a labor of love from this community for the Houston community. We are the first ones to do something this crazy, a Rita Festival, and we are so proud that Houston has embraced it, and we're going strong, and we are going to continue working hard so that every year we can come together, celebrate Frida and Primavera, and we're gonna get those scholarships going. It's gonna happen. I'm manifesting it. I'm putting it out into
Oh,
the universe.
yes, ma'am. And whatever I can do, count on me. If you need to put a group together to go over scholarship apps or create or support, I know a lot of teacher friends,
Awesome.
educator friends, art people in the arts friends that can come together and support this endeavor because though I always say only art can save us. And art is a great way to problem solve, to be creative with not just in the painting and sculpture world, but in life in general. Whether you're a doctor, a lawyer, business owner, problem solving is everywhere. And art
Yes.
allows for that to happen. So thank you, Lisbeth. Thank you so much for sharing. And I'm looking forward to seeing you this weekend. I'm stopping by
Yes.
with my two little Fridas. And I would love for, I don't know, Liliana, could you pull up that TikTok that I created where I put in my girls and Lisbeth? I know you can pull it up real quick, but if you catch it, you'll watch some of the artwork that they did when they were little. And one of them was a self portrait, the art, it looks like a Frida self portrait, and she did it when she was 5, and the other one did it when
Wow.
she was 4. And so they've been learning, and that was some art. That's the one 5 years
Love
old.
it. Oh.
And then she's like, "I'm Frida." She put a little mustache on her forehead, and then this is the 4-year-old.
And
And
then
then
they are.
that was at the Frida lookalike.
Yes.
That was yeah, they participated in a Frida lookalike. So thank you for sharing the continuation of the Frida Festival story here in Houston, Texas. We're here at your service. Let us know how we can support. Let us know how we can continue to elevate you and all the work that you're doing. Y aquí estamos en comunidad para ti, Lisbeth, y todos los que están en tu grupo organizando esto y sabiendo que es para los niños, para el futuro. And so we're here to continue supporting and building and creating and sharing. So gracias.
Thank you. Thank you. And we'll see you Saturday, everybody.
Yes.
Bring a friend. Bring a
Yes.
Diego.
There you go. Bring a Diego, bring the comadre, bring the compadre, bring the vecinos. Share it. It's free, it's family friendly, and it's a great way for you to come out and connect with yourself, with your community, with Houston, with the city, and your friends and family. Come on out and share a good time. So thank you. Gracias.
Thank you.
Comadre Liliana, ahí estás. Hi, I'm the Super Comadre from RadioCrystalUSA.com, and I just want to tell you a little bit about who I am and what I do. So, La Super Comadre, my platform is all about bringing people on, special guests, who either do something for the community, who have done something for the community, who match up the pillars of what my show is about, which is about taking care of your heart and soul, which is about political engagement, which is about education. So every person that comes on can be a super comadre or a super compadre, someone that's out there doing something for the community. So I invite you all to listen and to watch every Tuesday when we record the show. But it also repeats on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at 10 o'clock in the morning and at 10 o'clock at night on RadioCrystalUSA.com. And don't forget to give us a like. Adios.